Hi guys, as both the Tories and Rishi Sunak look forward to a number of by-elections, which will likely see a near, if not complete, wipeout of the Conservatives, backbencher and former Brexit Minister David Davis was engaged in some early firefighting. Now, he was trying to play down here the significance of any losses, and to a certain extent he's correct. A single by-election loss will not bring down a Prime Minister, but Rishi Sunak is looking at multiple seat losses. Have a listen.
And you mentioned there are local issues at play here. You mentioned ULEZ and Boris Johnson's seat, which of course Boris Johnson introduced when he was the Mayor of London. And so the Tories can't get too far away from that as an issue, given Boris Johnson's legacy in that one. Polling suggests Labour's got an 8-point lead in Uxbridge and South Ruislip, that Danny Beale's on 41% in that particular constituency, 12 points ahead in Selby and Ainsty. There is a narrative that would emerge from these by-elections should they go against the Conservatives?
Well, as I say, I mean, they make great and frankly, I mean, forgive me for saying it, rather easy writing for journalists.
Hey, well, you make it easy, you know. The politicians make it easy when there's such a swing of these sorts of skills.
You talk about Boris's record on ULEZ. I should think that's the least. That's the least of the concerns about Boris's influence in that. I mean, we're in the middle of the aftermath of Boris's tenure. I mean, the last few weeks has been absolutely dominated by all the issues related to him. That doesn't help us at all. But I come back to my point, you know, that we have lost. I mean, the one I was talking about, the Rydell one, was during Margaret Thatcher's tenure. And we were absolutely wiped out in that. And people were rattled a bit. Even I was rattled. I was next door. And I thought, wow, it's not going to be helpful to my seat. And as I say, end up with a bigger majority. So they're not very predictive. They tend to be, I mean, inevitably, I mean, in midterms, generally, the public take the opportunity to kick the government if it's doing something they don't approve of, which most governments are doing quite a lot of the time. So I don't worry about that. Also, to be honest, I think I don't actually know this, but I'm just picking up rumors galore about an imminent cabinet reshuffle, an imminent reset, and so on.
So, okay, a cabinet reshuffle or reset. But we'll get to that in a moment. Now, I think it's a bit comparing apples and oranges here to compare Rishi Sunak's situation with Margaret Thatcher's and the loss of a by-election, a massive swing to Labour during that by-election, and to compare it with the present day. Because that was one by-election, and you had a Prime Minister that was elected and was still quite popular, Margaret Thatcher. Rishi Sunak was not elected. Rishi Sunak was appointed. And Rishi Sunak is not popular, nowhere near as popular as Margaret Thatcher was. So we're comparing apples and oranges here. And of course, the situation Rishi Sunak has found himself in with the economy, with politics, with Brexit, all of these things are working against him. Margaret Thatcher didn't have those types of problems. She had her own problems, but nothing on the scale that Rishi Sunak is trying to deal with. And factor in once again that he's unelected and he's not popular. He's not even campaigning. The by-elections are around the corner and Rishi Sunak is nowhere to be found. He's not helping the situation. Or maybe he feels, or he's been told, actually it's better if you stay away. That you're so unpopular, it would be better if you don't campaign with the candidates, which is pretty damning. People are voting on cost of living. People are voting also on local issues. But there's also tactical voting working against the Conservatives. So if the Labour Party and the Liberal Democrats work together, it's going to benefit them. Now, of course, you can't compare this with the general election. Tactical voting is less likely to happen. It's much more difficult to organise. It's much easier when it comes to a by-election. So you can't really predict the outcome of the general based on a by-election, like you can't predict the outcome of the general election based on local elections. They're completely different. But this idea of, well, he's going to have a reshuffle or a reset of the cabinet, I don't think is going to really fix anything. It's once again pulling out the old analogy of the change, rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic, it's not going to work, because the public are against the Conservatives now. So Rishi Sunak can replace Suella Braverman with somebody else. He can replace Therese Coffey with somebody else, but it's not going to have any real impact. People are tired of 13 years of Tory rule and they want change. It's not so much that, as I said before, it's not so much that they're voting for the Labour Party, it's they're voting against the Conservatives. But we'll have to wait and see the results. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.